All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Tea with Doug G. If you don't know me, my name is Doug Gooden, and y'all, this week I am so excited to have not one but two incredible guests on this show. We have Mecca Slocum and Emma Powers, the director and assistant director of Children's Theater Troupe upcoming production Adelaide and Faerie Land. Y'all, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on. And why don't y'all just take a second, tell everyone who you are, what you do. The floor is yours, as it were.
Mecca?
Okay, I guess I can start. Well, hi, my name is I'm a director for the Adelaide and a student at UG. I am a theater minor and EMST major, and I just love theater and have a lot of projects. So.
And I'm Emma. I'm the assistant director for the Children's Theater Troupe, Adelaide and the Fairylands. I work with and under Mecca. She's great and fabulous, and we are super excited to talk about this. I think so. Doug. Well.
Sorry about that. But we're back. But anyway, yeah. So it's really cool because I have the opportunity to work with both of you. Emma, you were an actress in my first show that I did, which was called The Manager, for a directing showcase, and you were lovely. And then Mecca, I had the opportunity to work with you on Hunchback, and you were my assistant stage manager, and you're both incredibly lovely people. And yeah, I'm very excited for this. So without further ado, let's get into some questions, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So first things first, I've got to know, because this is something that I struggle with. What do you think it is that really draws you to directing? Like, what is it that gets you going about directing?
Mecca, do you want to?
Okay. Sure. So I guess just the ability to work with so many different creative people and learning from them, honestly, because this process was like a big collaboration project for all of us. So just being able to collaborate with different people and kind of dabble into different fields, like up to a little bit costume, which before. So I think being a director allows you to kind of dabble into every field of theater, which is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Emma, do you have anything to add?
Semi-similar. My main draw to directing is actually like the position itself, because when you first hear director, it's always so intimidating because you're the head of a project, but actually doing it was very different from what I thought, and it's very much a collaboration, a group of people that you love to work with and create theater with.
Yeah, definitely. I think the thing that always gets me is the level of ownership that you can take with directing a project is always so incredible. But yeah, I love that. So another thing that I'm really curious about is how y'all's dynamic works. So how would you describe that work dynamic between director and assistant director? Because I know for everyone I've worked with, it's been different. So I'm curious as to what it looks like for y'all.
Yeah, I just think that we're just like a team. Like everything we collaborate with everything. Like every little decision, even if it's, I'll be like, Emma, what do you think about that? And she'll do the same for me. So it's just honestly getting as much input from each other, and just like we're expecting each other's like different opinions and things like that, and just filling it out and seeing what works best for the whole. So it's just a big collaboration.
Yeah, definitely. Emma, do you have anything to add on that?
I think we're confidants. We'll always like go off to the side and be like, Mecca, what do you think about this? Should we change this? No, it's fine. It's fine. And then bounce ideas off of each other and run certain like scenes again and be like, no, we need to do that one again. It's very much a collaboration.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that I only got to watch very little bit of y'all in action as director and assistant director, and that was very much the vibe that I got off of y'all, was very confidant-esque. But yeah, I love that. So obviously, the world that we're living in right now is it's an interesting world, especially for the arts. And I know one of the things that sets Adelaide apart from other CTT shows is the fact that it's totally virtual. So as opposed to live theater, you're basically filming a short film, as it were. So I'm curious as to, what do you think was the biggest challenge with directing and preparing a virtual play? Again, either of you can take that.
I can start this one.
Yeah.
Where personally, I think the hardest part of preparing a virtual play was trying to decide whether we wanted to cater to Mecca.
Oh, we will hopefully get her back in just a second. But
I can
yeah,
keep talking.
yeah. Go on and carry on with your answer, Emma.
All right. Where I think the biggest part of preparing a virtual play is whether we want to cater toward a film aspect or a theater aspect. Because going into the process, we were like, this is going to be a theater production. We're going to film it like a play with just like a camera in front of it. But during the actual process, we had to change a couple of things to cater to a camera, which is something I never had to really deal with before, but was very challenging in the spot with finding the balance between.
Yeah. And so, okay, so you talked about, looking at what kind of audience you were looking at for this. And one of the biggest things is that this is a show that's primarily aimed at children as your primary audience. Do you think that there were any particular I'm curious as to how that looks at creating a virtual play or a film for a majority children audience, especially given the fact that their whole lives are on Zoom right now. Their whole lives are in front of screens. So was that a conversation that came up, or how did y'all tackle that? Yeah.
It was less of a conversation that needed to come up and more of just like an established rule, I think, where it was kind of like, yes, this is acting and this is theater, but it's also a kid's show. So energy always had to be like top notch. And we always had to do things that might not necessarily make sense from like an adult point of view, but like for a kid, they would enjoy that so much. Like they would eat that up. So it was just little decisions to be like, yes, this is theater and everything, but it's also for children.
Yeah. I completely get that. And I think on the one hand, I think that that's definitely something that draws me to children's theater as a whole, because it is such a different dynamic from what we traditionally learn as theater students. But yeah. So kind of on that, what I would like to know is what has been your favorite part about that untraditional aspect of making this show, of making this play? And while you're answering that, I'm going to text Mecca and make sure everything's okay.
I know, I was about to check my phone. Poor Mecca. Yeah. My favorite part.
Speaking of which, hi, Mecca.
Mecca, welcome back.
No, you're fine.
So
you're fine.
Not at all.
Hey, it's all good. This show is built off of technical difficulties, so you're completely fine. But yeah. So Mecca, the question is, what has been your favorite part of this traditional process, this untraditional process of creating Adelaide? And Emma, I know that you had started saying something.
Mecca can finish it out. I put my unbelievable trust in her.
Oh, thank you. The being able to incorporate the film aspect, that's always super cool. Like I did theater for so long, and so being able to dabble into film was a little scary at first, but it turned out to be my favorite part just because there's, for one, it was like less pressure on the actors because they knew that if they messed up, we can just like end the take and then start over, and it was such a short like period of time for them to like learn their lines and everything like that, so it kind of helped ease some of the pressure. And then being able to dab into film, like I said, it was really fun. Like working with the camera at first, and I still don't know about it, but like I feel a little bit more comfortable behind the camera, so it's pretty fun.
It's those little steps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you brought up your cast, and I know that a vast majority of your cast for this show were all new to CTT. They're mostly freshmen. And I've had the privilege to work with several members of your cast before, but I am curious as to, Houston Van Landingham, one of your cast members, sent in a question that I'm not going to read here because it's a very leading question, but it made me think, what sets this cast apart from other casts that you've worked with before?
Mm-hmm. Did you want to start, Emma, or?
I can if you want me to. Where I think it's because there was already kind of a dynamic between the cast before we even started doing anything. Where because half of the cast is freshmen and had worked on a previous show together, like main majority of all of them, they already knew each other and had relationships with each other going into the process. So that is super helpful for like creating new dynamics between characters, is if the people already know each other, they can already kind of meddle around with each other and try out new things without being too nervous. So I think that was fantastic and made our job so much easier.
Yeah, definitely. Mecca, did you have anything to add?
That was basically it. Yeah, it was easy. Yeah, it was really easy being able to go into it and without because we were okay because we already formed a connection, like to make little mistakes and things like that and try different things and just be silly and like they did really like fun voices and things like that, which is like my favorite part of the show. So being able to play with the fun little voices was really, really great. And I think they felt comfortable doing that because they knew each other and they already formed a relationship, like Emma said. So that helped a lot.
Yeah, and I definitely got that from the short amount of time that I was able to watch y'all filming, is that really like fun energy. So kind of piggybacking off of that, what would you say it's like directing a children's theater project? Because I know Mecca, you and I have worked on Hunchback, which is most certainly, I mean, an argument can be made that it is for kids, but also it's very heavy. And Emma, you I think the last project that I saw you in was Wild Party, which again, I'm sure there's an argument to be made that it might possibly be for some children, but the vast majority probably not. So yeah, what is it like directing a children's theater project?
Well, it was really fun. Like you said, it can be a challenge because we work on projects that like vary in like genres and then target audiences. So we have to like reel back a lot, but like at the same time, it's not limiting because you have to, with like children theater in general, you kind of have to not assume that they necessarily understand what's going on. So you really have to really like accentuate what you're doing, and I think that makes you like a better actor, able to really like articulate that and embody that. So that was I don't want to say a challenge, but something that we work with every day. And I think that pushed the actors even more because you can't assume that they'll pick up on things just because it's in the writing. So that was really cool playing with that. But yeah, it's different, but it was a lot of fun. So I'm a child at heart, so I would definitely watch Adelaide's like on my free time.
Amen.
For real.
Yeah. Well, great. And Emma, did you have anything to add?
That was about it. It's just a lot more physical acting than I would have previously thought.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So I know for me, one of the biggest things that not that I worry about, but one of my biggest focuses whenever I'm coming into a project is that production team, because you're only as good as your team that's behind you. So I am curious as to what is it that y'all look for in building a production team? What best suits your needs as an artist? What best suits your needs for what you want to do with projects? And I really would like to hear from both of you on that, because you both have your own opinions about things. So yeah. Either
okay, one. So I guess I guess I can go first. What I look for and what I found in this production team are just people who are excited about the project, who genuinely love it and are passionate about what they're doing, because then they're going to show up. Like, it's not going to seem like a task. Like, they're going to be excited about doing things. And like, we had a lot of fun props to make, puppets, which are so exciting. And being invested in those cute little things, and just like I said, showing up. So being passionate about what we're doing is really the top thing that I'm looking for. And then also just being able to rely on your production team and knowing that when they say they're going to do something, they will do it. And not because it's like a task, but because, like I said, they love what they do. And so that's something I definitely look for. But I had no problem with this production team at all. They definitely exceeded my expectations. And this was my first time directing, and they made it so easy for me. Like, I knew I could rely on them to ask questions. And whenever like I lacked in something, they helped me a lot. So that's just really what I look for, just a team. And that's what I got. Super excited.
Absolutely.
I was going to say a very similar thing, where you just need to be enthusiastic, number one, and dependable, where if you show up excited and ready to work and ready to learn and ready to help in whatever way you can, I want you on a production team. Absolutely, 1,000%. It's when you are flaky and can't show up all the time and seems like it's a task that it kind of pulls away from maybe not.
Yeah. I get that. And like I said, it's a thankless job, the production team, but the show really does rest on it as a whole. So I completely get where you're coming from. You need that ride or die group.
Ride or die for real.
Absolutely. So obviously you did have a production team. There's an entire cast dynamic that you had to look for. But beyond that, I don't know if this is true for y'all, but I'm assuming that this may have been y'all's first project with Children's Theater Troupe with CTT. So I'm curious, as a board member, but also as your friend, but also as a board member, what were your thoughts working with CTT, with the organization as a whole?
Emma, do you want to go first? I feel like I've been like taking over.
Yes, it over. I can go first. CTT is fabulous. Where right from the very beginning, I received like a text from Elise, and it was so nice, so open, so kind, so understanding. And I was like, oh, this is such a sweet person. But that just like extended through the whole board and every person I've met who's like involved with CTT, where I realized that y'all just have a great group dynamic happening, where you're so capable and so dedicated and love the work you do. And I don't know why I wasn't here before, but I am now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, similarly, like, I just, working with you all has been so much fun. And I just think that You guys are so creative. That's another thing, like to add on a little bit to the question about the production team. Just being able to work with people who are more creative than me, like that just that makes us like very being able to go to people and knowing that they're more creative and they're like more skilled because I don't know, you guys are very enthusiastic about what you do and it just makes you just brightens up your day every day because everyone has those down days, but being able to work with you guys these last 3-4 weeks has been like the best thing ever. It's brighten up because like you said, this is a very weird time. Like it's a very weird time and I just think that working with you all has been so helpful. And like Emma said, I don't know why I wasn't here before, but I'm not leaving anytime soon. So
well, wonderful. I love to hear that. I really am happy that that y'all have enjoyed your time working with CTT. I've said on the show plenty of times, and just in my everyday life, I love the organization. So if anyone can enjoy it, I'm very happy to have helped show you it or been a small part of it. But yeah. Now on CTT, and we kind of talked about this earlier about there's a lot of theater that's usually happening at UGA, and not all of it is probably for a majority children audience. But I am curious, and I don't know, I think this would be a lot of fun. What is a play or a musical that you would love to see a children's theater version of? I'm going to go on and say I would love to see a CTT version of Sweeney Todd, because there's so many reasons why that shouldn't work, but I don't know. There's a small sick part of my brain that goes, maybe you can make it work.
Mecca, do you have something? I'm still thrown off by Sweeney Todd. Now I have to rethink.
No. Let me try to. I'm not gonna top that. There's no way. But like I'm gonna try to get somewhere up there. Yeesh. I don't know. Like Hamilton? Like let's see, like let's try to make Hamilton. I think that would be adorable. I don't know.
It would be.
I'm yeah.
It would be so adorable. Go ahead.
I had Finding Nemo in my head. I was the little musical play that they do at Disney.
Yeah.
I think that would be good. But Sweeney Todd and Hamilton, not in my brain. I should have thought bigger.
You know,
hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think Finding Nemo is a great choice. I think I've heard the music from that Finding Nemo show, and it deserves to have a full-fledged show because it's actually really great music. Also, the guy who played Linguini in the Ratatouille musical, the TikTok musical, he was the original, I think, Nemo.
Excellent. But it's all coming together.
Yeah, it's meant to be. And I'm with Mecca. I do think that that a children's version of Hamilton would be absolutely adorable.
So phenomenal.
That's what the world needs. Lin-Manuel Miranda, I know that you're watching. One of the most avid fans of the show.
Absolutely.
please get on that if you don't mind. But yeah, well, I love that. And then one of the last questions that I have regarding CTT, and it's one of the questions that I love to ask anyone who's involved with student groups at UGA and the UGA theater scene, is what is a student group collab that you would love to see? Anything. It could be Yiru Mechanicals mixing with Next Act to put on a musical version of Twelfth Night, or I don't know why that was the first thing that came to mind, but it's also the only thing coming to my mind right now. But
I don't know the official name for this organization, but there's like a ballroom dancing organization here, and I just think they're so cool. And so if they were to like collab with children's theater, I would just melt. Like I would be so cute.
That would be
I don't know the official. I know.
It's the ballroom performance group at UGA. Yeah, I'm with you. That would be lovely.
Teaching little kids how to ballroom dance. Excellent.
I wish I had that.
Emma, do you have an idea of a student group collab that you would like to see?
I would love. I'm required to say, not required. I should say, Next Act should collab with CTT, where I think they could put together a wonderful musical production that could bind both of their groups into something miraculous.
Yes, definitely.
That thing.
Yeah. I also love the fact that you brought up you're probably obligated. No, it's all good. It's all good. We all have.
I might be obligated, but I also want to say.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all good.
Weird enough, what was it? I think my freshman year, CTT actually did a musical. I can't remember what the Adventures of Douglas Fir, and it was a Canadian musical, and it had puppets, and it was adorable.
Amazing.
So yeah, it can be done.
It should be done.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So one of the kind of rounding out this conversation, one of the final questions I have for y'all, you've been through this unconventional creative process, production process, and I know we're all college students. We're all looking to the future constantly because that's what we're told to do, no matter how terrifying it may seem. But how do you feel that this show and this process has set you up for your future projects? Or what do you think, if you had to narrow it down to one or two key lessons or key details, do you think will carry through with the rest of your work going forward?
Well, I think that just with CTT in general, everything that you guys do is for like a greater cause. And just having that in the back of your mind, like what you're doing is to inspire other people and it affects other people. So just knowing that what you do is bigger than just theater. It's like bringing joy back into children's life during this uncertain time. So just really having purpose and realizing that everything you do really has purpose. I would like to carry that with me no matter like where I go and where I end up. Then also being able to adapt, like because we are in uncertain times, we have to adapt all the time, constantly, and just making sure that everyone's safe and that everyone feels comfortable. So that's definitely something that I'm going to always be thinking about, and just being able to ask those questions, like, are you comfortable? That we do, and like just being there for the people involved in the project as a whole, and realizing that, like what Emma said earlier, that like the label director sounds so scary, but like really it's just being attentive to the people that you're working with and really adapting and being there for them is really what the job is about. So looking at the greater whole and not just like your role is something that I would like to take with me no matter where I go. So.
Absolutely. I love that. Emma?
Again, thinking maybe selfishly, but directing for the first time was so scary to me. And I came into the process where everybody already knew each other, and I was kind of the only person who didn't know anybody. But like a day into working with everyone, the directing thing that I thought was so scary was never going to be a problem, because I could trust the team that I was working with and the actors that I was with. And I think that day, that first rehearsal, set me up for so many future things where I could be like, yes, I can do this, because I thought I was incapable before and I was proven so wrong. So I should go in with the mindset that, like, yes, this is definitely something I can do and can adapt to, like Mecca said.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love seeing my talented friends becoming just better and better artists. But yeah, I love that. So, we've gotten through this whole conversation and we've talked about this a few times, this elusive Adelaide and the Fairylands thing, but I know that there are people out there who have no idea what we're talking about. So for my final question for y'all, what is Adelaide and the Fairylands? When can people watch it? Where can they watch it? What is it?
Oh my goodness. Where to begin? Mecca, do you?
Like I dream, sleep Adelaide in the Fairyland.
Okay.
Yeah, so the story is about a young girl named Adelaide who, similar to us, like is trying to wrap her head around what's going on in the world with the pandemic and COVID and how it's affecting her loved ones and how she wants to return back to her normal life and her regular routine. And so her sister shows her this fairyland, and so she's able to meet different people and realize that that everyone has little obstacles that they're going through. Mm-hmm. And so being able to help her friends that she meets at Fairyland go through these little obstacles allows her to appreciate where she's at and appreciate her family. So it really has a great theme. And sometimes you have to like have things like this to show you that the things in front of you are important and that maybe you might be taking things for granted and things like that. So it's really a cute show, but it has a really deep meaning. And I'm like, when I was reading it for the first time, I'm like, I'm so Adelaide. We are one. So she's just like a ball of joy, and she just has a lot to learn. She's really enthusiastic about that. When people can watch it, Emma, do you want to take that or?
Yeah. Well, first, shout out to Abby Smithwick for writing it because it is student written. And
snaps for Abby.
So good.
So good.
Where did that come from? So grateful. So grateful. But when can people watch it? It opens on the 18th, which is Thursday, I believe, and runs through the 20th, which is Saturday. And I think 8 p.m. is the time.
I believe you're right. I believe 8 p.m. is the time.
I think it is. If I'm wrong, I'm so sorry. But it is around that time. And to get tickets, you can just go to the UGA Theater site, go to tickets, and scroll down the page, and there is Adelaide and the Fairylands. And you just reserve your ticket, and you can watch it on whatever device you wish. And I will maybe watch all 3 nights because I can.
And that is the mark of a director. Watching something repeatedly, even though you know everything that's gonna happen. Yeah. Well, look, thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for coming on the show. Thank y'all for giving your time. Thank you for directing the show. I'm so excited to see it. And for everyone out there who is watching, please give it a look this weekend. CTT puts on great work, and these are 2 phenomenal people. Mecca and Emma are so incredible, and I'm so happy to see the work that y'all have done come to light and come to fruition. But yeah, did y'all have a good time?
Yes, I was so nervous for no reason.
Yeah, this is not a show to be nervous about. But
yeah, I was definitely nervous.
But yeah,
too.
well,
like,
yeah. Well, look, y'all both did great. It was a great show. And yeah, for everyone watching, thank y'all so much. Again, be sure to check out Adelaide and the Fairylands this Thursday through Saturday. Keep up with Viter Media. We have new episodes of Saying the Skeen coming out every Wednesday. Again, I have no clue what episode's dropping this week, but it's a good one. But yeah. Until next time, I'm Doug Gooden. That's Emma Powers. That's Mega Slocum. And this, my friends, has been the Tea. Y'all have a great week.